And look at that, our player's getting hungry over time. Pretty freaking cool, and that's it. That's literally all it is. Just an easy in and out, literally works on basically every part of the game, in the game world. You can pretty much get into any building with this. There's a fully fledged apartment in here, and it's easier to get in on the bike, but...
What's up everybody, Cryptic here, back with another GTA 5 RP tutorial, and today for you guys, I'm going to be showing you how to make a FiveM server on console. Now, if you're wondering, wait, what do you mean FiveM server? That sounds kind of clickbaity. Actually, so proximity chat, custom buildings, custom cars, custom weapons, all that stuff. So proximity chat. So you have that feature in FiveM where you can only hear players if you get close to them in-game, not using Discord. That's also going to be a thing. So if you guys want, follow along in the tutorial, be as creative as you want, and that's about it. If you guys going to enjoy the video, feel free to drop a like. I know every content creator says that, but it really does help out a ton. It gets the video to more awesome people like you. Leave a comment below, join the Discord, link in the description. Let's get started. Alright, so once you load into the creator in GTA 5 Online and you head over to the deathmatch option, literally just the deathmatch option, that's it. You're gonna get thrown into a little menu like this, which is your creator menu. This is where all your tools are going to be. So from here, you're going to want to go in your details. I would give it a title. So for me personally, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to call it test roleplay. Even the description can just be test for now. And the photo can be literally anything. These can be changed later on, as none of this really matters right now. Just kind of get it out of the way. Search tags, we're not going to worry about that right off the bat either. I'll show you guys how that works later. What you're going to want to do though is make sure that the maximum players is set to 30. Minimum set to 2. Technically you can make it as much as you want, but I would just set it to 2 at minimum. For end conditions, you're going to want to go 60 minutes and make sure that these are all set to off. For lobby settings, you're going to want to allow time of day cycle to yes, allow weather to yes, and leave that as that. If you want to keep the time limit on, leave it at this to being off. Combat settings, we're going to go to forced pickups, forced weapon unarmed. This is just in case you want players to start off with nothing, which is the most realistic. I guess technically if you wanted people to start with guns, that is up to you. I wouldn't personally do that. It wouldn't make really much sense and be pretty unrealistic. Remove helmets. Now this is up to you. If you're only allowing people to join who are actually willing to roleplay, then worrying about bulletproof helmets isn't really a problem. So we'll leave this on. We're gonna leave classic features turned off. Domination feed messages turned on. Allow armor and snacks turned on. Limit spawn protection time, turn that on. Keep your kill streak HUD disabled. And then in modifier sets, this is going to be really important. So for your default modifier set, you're going to want to keep scoring for enemy kills set to 1. And by the way, in this tutorial, I am also going to show you guys how to set up a prison system so that players will actually go to prison, and also a way for players to play as prison guards who can actually release players from prison. Yes, you heard me right. So what I recommend doing is keeping enemy kill score set to 0 and having melee's vehicle impact set to +1. And then in specific weapon group kill bonus, you're going to want pistols to do +1 and just go along the line. Also keep friendly kill score 0, death score 0, and you're going to want to turn these to 0 as well. And that's going to be for inventory. You're going to want to give them their inventory. For remove weapons first, make sure this is on, because that means that when a player dies and they respawn at a hospital or wherever you think they should spawn, they won't have their weapons anymore. They'll have to go back to a gun store or a black market dealer, whatever you think you're wanting to do. Realism, we're going to keep infinite ammo off. Body armor can be set to default, and parachute can be set to primary only. After that, we're going to head into combat. Now, this is where things get realistic. For max health multiplier, we're going to keep it at default. Starting health being 100%, health regen being turned off, meaning players will have to use snacks in order to heal or head to a hospital. Now, if you want to make an eating mechanic in the server, this is actually really easy. All you have to do is make sure health drain is set on, set the health drain minimum to 60%, and make the drain speed very slow. What this does is over time, your health bar is going to actually go down over the course of 2 minutes. Meaning players will have to eat food in order to stay alive, or to keep full health anyway. For the sake of this video, making this map as realistic as possible, I'm gonna make this 50%. If anything, actually, we'll go 35. It just makes it even more realistic. If you want, you can make sure headshots don't do extra headshot damage. So you can either do that for realism to keep it on, or if you'd like to make things more fair, you can turn it off. I'm gonna leave it to no. Prevent takedowns. Basically, all this means is you can't use, when you're in GTA and you go behind a player and you hit circle on your controller and it does an animation where you karate chop them in the back of the neck, it just turns that off. So honestly, probably good to keep that off. If you don't want players pistol whipping each other, you can actually disable melee entirely, meaning that they can't use melee. I'm gonna leave this turned off. If you want to make explosions more realistic, instead of dying instantly, you can actually get tossed around a little more, because then it makes the RP actually more realistic and immersive, and you have time to RP out your actions instead of just dying immediately. So we can give medium explosion resistance. For weapon damage, we're going to make sure guns are a little more realistic. For example, pistols are going to do 1.5 extra, SMGs are going to be 1 point, and that's going to be it for the combat modifiers. Heading on down to blips, you're going to want to leave this to default for blip behavior. However, for the blip style, we're going to want to set it to something that, honestly, this can be anything you want. To make it realistic like a FiveM server, what you could do actually is just keep it so that blips are always hidden, meaning you actually never see anybody, like FiveM servers. For movement, this is really cool because you can make this either super realistic or super unrealistic, but obviously, again, for the sake of this video, we're going to make it realistic. So, you know how it gets annoying seeing players bunny hop everywhere instead of just running? You can turn that off. Don't like combat rolling? You can turn it off. Action jog, I prefer this one turned off just so after you hit somebody or shoot a gun, your character doesn't do that weird crouch punchback maneuver. I don't really know what it is, but I'm just going to keep that turned to yes. And that's going to be it for the default modifier set. For the next modifier set we're going to create is going to be for prisoners. Now this one's going to be really important. Now I don't know where you guys want to have your prison set. You could literally do the prison, or you could also just make it be at the police station. I'll show you guys about saving memory for items placed and all that other stuff. So I think the best thing to do would be to make your prison at the actual prison. Now I think what we're going to do is make our own prison. So the way we'll get up to this is going to be through this ramp over here, which is right by the police station. So police will be able to drive up and go to the prison right here. This is where our inmates will actually be. And yes, by inmates, I mean real players. So the way this is going to work is what we're going to do, we're going to head over to placement, place our trigger down over here, just for now. We can move it later on. We're also going to want to set up a lobby camera, which doesn't matter right now. We can change it. Start points as well aren't going to matter at all. So you can place these anywhere you want. They're never going to appear, except for when you're in the editor, which, well, obviously doesn't really matter. You're just going to want to place all of them just like this. And that goes for both teams. There we go. Now for spawn point, this is going to be really important. Make sure you have that secondary modifier set made. It should look like this, your default and modifier 1. What I recommend is giving these names. So if you hit square while hovering over a modifier set, you can actually give it a name. So we can call this one urban, and we can call this one crooks, obviously for prisoners. So now oh, this is the default modifier set. This is for prisoners, and you'll know what this stuff means in a bit. Now that you have all this ready, what you want to do is head over to your placement and head over to props. Now, this is really up to personal preference, but once again, for the sake of this video and keeping this as realistic as possible, I think it would be a good idea if we tried making a realistic jail cell for actual inmates. Now, before we place anything down, what I highly recommend is going into spawn points. Make sure you go to modifier restrictions and set restricted for the urban modifier set. You're going to only want actual prisoners to be able to spawn here. So to do this, you're going to set it up like I have on screen here. We're going to place one down right in this corner, do one more one right here, and we'll do one right here. Now that we've got that done, we're going to want to head over to the prop section, head over to the blocks. Now, again, for realism, I would probably choose something more realistic for color that matches the setting of the map instead of bright yellow. So we'll go with black. It also probably would be a good idea to choose a larger piece to fit the size of your jail cell that you're going to be doing. So to do that, we're going to need to find something a little bit longer. This seems to work perfectly. We can always just move these spawn points around later. Now you're going to want to go into advanced options always, override rotation, always hit this. And what you'll notice is when you actually if you hold triangle while hovering over an axis and then use your D-pad, you can change a full axis. If you don't hold triangle, you can change what's after the decimal, allowing you to fine-tune the placement. So if you go on the Y, we can change its Y axis. Keep in mind a 90-degree angle is, well, a 90-degree angle, so it's going to make the most sense. Once you're done, find wherever you want to put it. It's not really going to matter where you place it because you can just go back, override position, click on this, and then edit the Z. Edit to as high as you want or as low as you want. It's really up to you. We'll do about, let's say here, maybe a little lower, make it more realistic for a building. And then from here, you can go up and you can line this up to be on par with the corners of these walls well, again, make it realistic. Once you think that looks pretty good, hit X to place it down. And then it's pretty much just rinse and repeat. So we're going to open this up, out, turn this on. It's always good to go into both of these once you put a piece down and just turn on the use override feature immediately, because then you can just back and forth between them. So we're going to change the rotation of this, get it at a 180, change the Y to 90, go back to the other override position. It's got arrows, of course, so you can see which direction it's going to be going. We're going to want to line this up as perfectly as possible, just like that. We're going to want to bring this out corner to corner. And again, if you hold square while moving these, you can actually fine tune even slower to make sure that it lines up perfectly. So we can quickly put it here, hold square, and then use the arrow button to fine tune it down. Just like that. Perfect. Looks amazing, blends in well. It's gonna look really custom. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the rest of this and then give you guys a little tour of it so you have an idea of what you're doing. By the way, for bigger surface areas, it's probably a good idea to use bigger pieces, then you have to use less materials. And there's a model memory bar at the bottom right, so you're gonna have to keep that in mind. It's not too bad, so as long as you're making do with what you have correctly, then I think it should be good. Now that we have this pretty much mostly lined up as best as we really can, let's just line that up there. Looks like there's a single gap, so we're gonna have to actually do this a little differently. Line that up like that, move it over like this, push this down, and there we go. If you want to make actual jail cells, it's probably a pretty good idea to head over to the barrier section and scroll until you find actual fences, because in these fences you're going to find an actual fence gate. Well, even these actually would work, and it would allow you to keep players who are in here from interacting with each other. Well, physically anyway. Verbally, I guess it's kind of fair game. But you're probably wondering, you're telling me players are going to stay in that? Wouldn't they just jump out? Well, they could if we didn't have this. So what we're going to do is head over to customize play area. So you're gonna have to set up a default play area first. So the way this is gonna work is find roughly where the center of your area of play is going to be. So that would be where you want players to stay role playing. So what you're gonna do is, for starters, make it bigger. So if we place it down, you'll see it's a cylinder. However, we could make it a sphere. And then if you go negative, you'll get 5,000. We're not gonna use all that, so we're gonna lower it a little bit because, well, we're not gonna use that. And you have this go back to your modifier set, default, play area, and it should be on default. Now, you're gonna wanna go back to play area and go over one. What this will allow you to do is create another play area, except instead of a sphere this time, you're gonna create a box. Now, what you're gonna do with this box is you're gonna start from one corner, right up around the middle, and you're gonna place one end here, and the other end right about there. That's like flickering on the wall, meaning it's lined up perfectly. Now, if you haven't already noticed, you probably see where I'm going with this. First of all, the width needs to go down about that much. Then once you've lowered the upper height down enough, what this does is when you back out, go to modifier sets again, go to the crooks modifier set instead of their play area to be play area 2 as the default for them. So that means people that spawn here can't leave this area. Then go back, placement, play area, and set the default as 1. That doesn't change anything for them, it just changes it for the other people. But now these people are eternally stuck here until someone lets them out, which I will also show you guys how to set that up as well. So you're probably wondering now, how do I get inside of interiors like FiveM? Wouldn't it be kind of boring if we were just stuck walking around outside of buildings the entire time and had no access to, well, building interiors? I would completely agree. However, no, you're right, seriously, we could do that. So first things first, there's 2 ways you can do this. One is kind of weird. If you want, you go over to the police section and you head over to the police bike. What you do is you place one police bike just like this, and you place one just like this. Now to get them to place, you just have to like back out really far enough where it goes blue, and you hit place and it'll do it. And then in game, when you go to get on the bike, it'll just push you into the building. That's one way of doing it. However, the problem with that is that utilizes vehicles that you could use for actual RP related stuff. So we're not going to do that because it's kind of a waste. So what we're going to do is the other way, which looks better and doesn't use vehicles. The way this works is you go over to stun signs, you go over to take flight sign. I would make this black to blend in with the building, black or white just to make sense with everything. Otherwise, bright red would just throw off a little bit. Now, sadly, with the way a dynamic prop works, you can't edit its axis properties very well. Why? You can't really tilt it. You have to just rotate it. So what we're gonna do is head over to advanced options, override this position, make it go down, like right there where the sign that moves up and down actually just goes underground. You're gonna want to line up this part of the right side of the sign right up to the door, just like that, perfectly. Now you're gonna want to go up to this and you're going to want to push it back until it's just behind those doors, right about, I'd say, there. And the way I'm doing it so meticulously and precisely is by holding square on my controller while hovering over the X-axis option and using my D-pad left and right options to move it forward and backwards, but very slowly and very precisely. Once you've looked at this and thought, yep, that looks about right, you're going to want to hit X. Then you're going to want to immediately hit X again, and you'll have another one on you like this. Do the same thing. You're going to want to lower it down. If you want to line it up perfectly, just follow the tops of these. So for example, push it about there until it's touching, and then push it up and just kind of adjust it slightly. There you go. They're perfectly flush together. Now you're going to want to actually, looks like I'm stuck inside of these poles. Oh, that's not good. So what you're going to want to do now is actually line this up right about there. And then now that you got that, we're going to go up right here. And we're going to want this one to go out right on the edge of the outside. Just like that. Perfect. Place. And then back out. Head over to, you can use neon blocks or you can use regular blocks. We're going to use regular ones. For this one, you're actually going to want to go to the rotation type of world heading and set it to roll. And then you're going to want to roll one of these towards you like this. Ever so slightly, just like this. Leave it. Go down to advanced options. Override position. You're going to want to lower it. I'd say about there. Move it over just about to where the far left of this is at the center of the doors. Just like that. And another thing you want to do, see where that brown part of these bricks right here line up at the block that I'm placing? You want to make sure the bottom of that block is about there, because this block is what's going to allow this to push players inside, vice versa. I think you get that now. So if we go look at the ground, hit your touchpad, we're going to go in first person, just keep walking forward, and that's it. That's literally all it is. Just an easy in and out, literally works on basically every part of the game, in the game world. You can pretty much get into any building with this. So now that you got that done, remember to open your menu with the down on your D-pad option and hit your touchpad again to go back into the creator god mode type fly menu thing. And we're going to place another one. So remember, like I said the first time, allow prop stacking on, roll. This time we're going to roll this one slightly backwards, advanced, raise it up. We can go backwards around here. So it's not telling us we can't place it. Line up that just like this. Raise it up about there. If you want, you can even still roll it a little. So we can just go about there. Place. Now what this allows you to do is not only go inside of the building, but you can also go back outside of the building. Sometimes it might do that, but that's very rare. So if you're standing on this thinnest part of the door while looking forward and do that, it'll just push you right back out. I want to be clear, this works best in first person. That's just my experience. So, but that won't affect anything. So it just makes getting in and out of the building a lot easier. So that's basically it. You can now fully get inside of this police station. You're probably wondering, wait a minute, these signs coming up and down on the outside of the store here, that looks really terrible. Well, take a block, one longer like this, turn on prop stacking, advanced edit, override advanced edit. You're going to want to edit the rotation. Also, this is one little tiny point off, so for my OCD, we're going to just set that to 0. Set this rotation to 90 degrees. We're going to raise it up to go right about here. If you see, just like this, now that we got that lined up, you can place it down just like that. Technically, if you wanted, you could put one behind it, but I'm not going to, just to save on prop space. Now this looks great, and it works very well. Let's talk about putting gear inside of the police station. Now, this used to be an old trick that I don't think I've ever seen really anywhere else, but I'm not going to gatekeep this. So you're going to want to go to placement. You're going to go to pickups. Now, this is where you decide what you want your police officers to actually be able to use, whether it's going to be you or whoever. So realistically, I think police officers should be able to use the combat pistol with a flashlight. I think that makes the most sense. I wouldn't go with any extended clips or anything because that just doesn't really make any sense. What you're going to really want to do, now this is going to be really important. This is going to incentivize players going back to places to get ammunition. So if a player gets into a shootout, they can't just indefinitely shoot their gun off, reloading, shooting, and it's just basically until whoever dies. There will be a chance someone in a situation might just run out of ammo. So the way that we're going to fix this, instead of default clips, we're just going to do one single clip. You could also specify bullets, but we're going to leave it as clips. Oh, and if you want this to not show up on the map until you actually get near it, you can set a blip range. So if we set a blip range of 1 meter, well, we'll only be able to see this if we're standing pretty much on top of it, which is just going to allow us to collect it anyway. This is good for if you want to hide certain things around your map. It'll show a height, so you can just change this to 1 as well. 1 and 1. You won't see it on the map unless you know where it is. So what we're gonna do with this, place it down, and then pick it up. You're not gonna do anything. You're gonna hit your touchpad right where you're looking, just like this. We're gonna go into first person to go back inside this building, and you're gonna find a spot that you think is suitable enough for it. Now, you could do the armory, but I've noticed it's kind of hard to do it in there. It is possible, but you have much more room to work with in the actual locker rooms, which is also where they gear up. So we'll do it in here. So now this part's kind of weird. The way you do this is by right as you hit down on your D-pad to activate your menu, you're gonna spam circle, just like that. That either works or it doesn't. It's a bit of a process, but it allows you to place items down inside of buildings. Now, we're not gonna know if this worked because we didn't set up our proper spawn points yet, so that's what we're gonna do next. Now, this part's really mostly just up to personal preference, but if you're trying to make a FiveM server on console, then, well, you're probably gonna want players to spawn at a hospital. And you remember my trick about getting inside the interiors? That works with this place too. That means players can spawn in an actual hospital after dying, which makes way more sense than spawning 5 feet away from where they got into a shootout, which is annoying. So to do this, once again, we're gonna go to props. We're gonna go all the way back over to stunt signs, get the take flight sign. I'd make it, if anything, even actually, you could do blue for lightical, but we're gonna just make it white because it matches the building. Make sure prop stacking's turned on. With this, you're gonna want to line this up to the wall. So I would hover it over the doors and just do something along the lines of this by lining up the bottom of it with the line of the door, if that even makes any sense. You can do that, and then you can just lower it about, I'd say there. Place it just far enough back that it's inside the building. Place it just far enough where you can use this to glitch inside, right about there. We're gonna end up deleting this later, and I'll show you guys why. Now you're gonna want to go to your blocks. This does not matter. You're gonna end up deleting some of these, so make it so that you can get inside the building. I'd say right around here. Get your touchpad. Now the way this works is you're probably not gonna be able to walk under here like this, depending on how high you put it, but if you can, then great. If not, just go from the side. You're gonna notice that when you go through, you fall through the map. So right away, don't just do that. Hold your horses. You're gonna actually want to go get a relatively large block. I wouldn't use neon because they glow. So what I would actually do is head over to a regular one, make it black maybe, and then we're gonna actually just get a much larger piece like this, and we're gonna go around here, allow prop stacking, advanced, lower it, well, maybe raise it up a little so we can tell where we are putting it. We're gonna actually go, oh, and this is a nice little trick. So you see how it's facing that direction? Well, if I push it, it's gonna go kind of off kilter. Instead of that, we're gonna bring it back a little, go to local alignment, and it'll go from the direction of the actual prop's face. So now it'll go in the direction we want it to. Pretty cool. And that's any direction that it's facing, so just to be clear. So once we can do that, we can lower it a little bit. Again, it's good to use that technique I showed you guys where you can hold square and fine tune it. This allows you to make sure you can see it popping up out of the floor. We'll just do right below so we can't see it. Place it down, go back into here, gonna run up, give the door a second, and then we're gonna go right here while walking forward. And look at that. You are walking inside of the hospital. It works great. Now that we're in here, we're gonna actually back out and go to spawn points. What you're gonna want to do here is set restricted for these guys and available for these guys. But what I recommend doing is putting one down over here, maybe put one down right here, put one down, even put one down behind the reception area, and put one down by the front door. Now, you could make a door that allows players to leave, or you can make it quicker and they can just do this. So yeah, you can just do that. So now that we got that done, we're gonna need to figure out the rest of these spawn points, which you'll probably be wondering, well, hold up, I have 51 more spawn points. What do I do? Easy. Restrict for both of them and just place them anywhere you want. You don't need to use all the spawn points. I'm not sure why Rockstar did this, but for some reason, if you do it like this, when you start your RP, it'll just spawn all the players on, say you only put down one spawn point for one modifier, it will literally spawn every single player, all 30 of them on that one thing. They will be piled up, and hey, they designed it like that and we're just utilizing it for our benefit to have fun. So there you go. Now what you notice is you no longer have an error on that. So when you test this on the default modifier set, which is what you would have by default when you start the RP, this is what happens. Immediately turn on invincibility. And look at that, our player's getting hungry over time. Pretty freaking cool if you ask me. So now what we're gonna do is actually head out of here real quick. Well, actually, if you didn't know, you can teleport by just opening up your map. What you'll notice is the gun that we tried placing down earlier inside the police station didn't actually go in. The way we know that is because it's sitting right outside right here. Oh, ignore why there's NPCs over there at those spawn points. That has nothing to do with anything. You guys aren't gonna have to worry about that. It's just filling up another modifier set with entities just to make sure it works. Ignore that. So what we're gonna do with this is actually exit back again. You're gonna want to head back over to the police station, back to pickups. What you're gonna want to do is hover over it, pick it up again without doing anything else, hit your touchpad, go back into the police station, and basically rinse and repeat this until you can just get it to be working. But I'll do this first one to show you guys how to make sure it's working each time. Well, if it's not, how to know. We go back in here. So you're gonna spam down on your D-pad and circle at the same time. Sometimes even spamming down circle and X at the same time fixes it. That didn't. That actually broke it. That actually sent it back. So we can just pick it up again. Touchpad. Back in here. First person. Push forward. We're in. Find an area. Down on your D-pad and circle at the same time. You'll get the hang of it. What we're gonna want to do now though is actually go to your test and test. Pause your game. And look at that. It worked actually first try. Well, third try, but it actually worked a lot quicker than I thought. Maybe it's gotten easier to do on PS5 because of the higher FPS, which yes, for some reason affects that, which is nice. So now that we can do that, and we head over there, say you have your cop outfit on and you're ready to go on duty and you head inside of the PD. If you look at my radar at the bottom left, you'll notice, wait a minute, I don't see the gun on the screen. What's going on? Oh, ignore the door opening. That won't be like that when you actually start it. Don't worry. I don't know why it does that. You go in here, close, and even though you're standing right beside it, you can't see it. Not even when you pick it up, because it's 1 meter, so you'll never get close enough. You're gonna pick it up anyway. The pickup distance is actually much farther. Pretty cool. As you noticed, we're still getting pretty hungry over time. Sorry, I'm excited over the whole hunger feature that I just cut in this video, just as I went, because I quite literally figured it out as I was explaining it. I just thought of like, wait a minute, there's a drain health option. What if we did it over time and only to a certain percentage? It would simulate health loss, which then if you were to eat snacks would simulate hunger, and you get it. So anyway, back to making a FiveM server. Oh, and just to make sure you don't actually die from it, we're just gonna wait it out so I can make sure that this doesn't kill us. I'd hate to have said I came up with this cool feature and it doesn't work, but from the looks of it, our radar isn't giving us the little losing health indicator anymore, so we're not gonna die from it, but we're a lot weaker for it. So pretty cool. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you go into an actual gas station and you walk up to the sprunk machines, I don't think I could do it in the creator or E-Cola. I think if you do it actually in game, it'll allow you, but not in here. So, but again, if you have the setting to allow player snacks on, then they can eat on their own, and that's no big deal. Alrighty. So you got a hunger system, you've got a jail system, you've got a hospital system. Actually, wait a minute. We don't have a jail system. I forgot to continue explaining that. So the way the jail system is going to work is, well, for starters, the way this works, it's gonna be hard to explain actually. Hope you guys are following along. So we're gonna want to actually set up another gun inside of the police station, and naturally this is only for police to be able to take people out of jail. So for instance, go to our pickups, we're gonna head over to shotguns and take the pump shotgun. I mean, if you really wanted, you could give it, I don't know, a flashlight or whatever and give it some extra ammo, but we're not gonna need to do that. Oh, I forgot to mention respawn time. You can make it so that a weapon will respawn in 10 seconds, 60, or never respawn again. Probably should have told you guys to set the pistol respawn to at least 10 seconds, just to make it easier for police to pick it up faster. But anyway, you can always go change that. You're probably wondering, what does a shotgun have to do with prisoners? It's gonna seem a little inhumane, but what you're gonna end up doing is, as a cop, if you want to release someone from jail and give them back their regular modifier set, you will shoot them with this shotgun, and that will do so. So, kind of weird how it works, but it worked perfectly. So what we're gonna do, same thing. Place it down, pick it up, touchpad, head into the police station. We actually don't have to worry about that. It's currently glitched. Go in here, and we're gonna place it about there. That might have not worked. We're about to find out. And again, to know if it worked or not, once you respawn, pause, and it'll either be, well, inside the building or back outside the front of the doors, so we know it didn't work. So we don't have to actually walk over there to check. We can just respawn back into the creator menu. Your touchpad, hit down on your D-pad, and then hit touchpad, and it'll take you back to where you were. Placement, pick it up, touchpad, rinse and repeat until it works. And trust me, you're gonna want this to work. Okay, just like that, we finally got it to work. I think that was about 5 attempts-ish, maybe 6. It's not too bad, but once you finally do it, you don't have to do it again. So if that or you are a prodigy and get the hang of it like no other, then I applaud you. So now that that works, the way we're setting up the prison system, if you guys have followed along up until this point, is you want to go back into details, modifier, Brook, eligibility. Now, first of all, any player be eligible to get this, position being any, condition being based on score of a specific value of, well, I guess let's just say 6. So if you get 6 kills, you go to jail. So if it's greater than this or equal to this, so if once you get your 6th kill, you go to jail, and it'll be applied instantly, meaning you just die on the spot and get teleported to jail. Or if you want to make it realistic, it's on spawn, meaning if that person gets beyond this many kills, say it's in a shootout with police, well, say one cop gets one lucky shot in and finally kills him, then even though the guy got beyond the limit to be sent to jail, he'll now respawn in jail. That's how that works. So we'll leave it at applying on spawns. But now how is this going to work? Well, what we're going to actually do is in the scoring section, we're going to make sure that specific weapons, as in shotguns, get no kills towards you. And if you're the crooks and you die by the shotgun, this will actually reduce you down 5 points. You may need to do it more than this just because, but it'll get you out of jail. That's it. You just get shot by an anti-jail shotgun and it will remove you from jail and respawn you back at a hospital. Think of it as clearing your record. All right. So we got a perfectly functioning police station. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to, you could obviously add tasers and stuff inside. So tasers, body armor, nightsticks, flashlights, the works. If you want, I will, and that just makes sense to me. You have a functioning prison system with, well, a get out of jail free card, being a shotgun and blast to the face, but it still works. As well as a hunger system that actually works, and a hospital system. Come on, and we're not even done yet. You guys are in for a real treat. I know you guys and your friends are gonna enjoy this. So, what are a couple extra things you're probably gonna want to add to this? Well, thinking realistically, probably a dealership, a gun store, and somewhere to get food, most likely. So the way we're gonna do the dealership is pretty simple, actually. Now, you could go to Simeon's dealership at PDM, and you could just place cars down. Or, you can make a custom dealership, players have to get inside. So, you could go one of 2 directions. Actually, one of 3, now that I think about it. You could use the take flight sign glitch to get into this place, add a fake floor on the bottom, place cars in, you drive off the edge of the map, inside, it'll respawn them up top with you inside. Or you could place them here, or you could go to an LS Customs or even Benny's, and you could place them here so that when you want to simulate them getting repaired, you bring it inside, and I'll show you how to repair vehicles. But before we do any of that, let's decide police vehicles. These are going to be really important. So what vehicles are cops going to need to be able to drive around and chase criminals? Well, I'm thinking, this part's mostly up to you guys, but I think what I'm going to go with are FIB vans, FIB cars, and we're going to make them like a light shade of blue, which you've probably seen in a lot of FiveM servers where they have those light blue SRTs. So we're just going to place this here. Actually, if you wanted even, you could give them bulletproof tires and extra health to make them more durable, since they're police vehicles. But within realism, we'll keep it at 100%. Place it down, place one here. You could add more, or you could add less. It's totally up to you. You can also add different types of police vehicles if you wanted. Maybe you want police running around in bikes or marked cruisers. It's totally up to you. If you want, you can even have air unit, which is also really cool. If you want, I can show you guys how to do that as well. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna go without air unit, but if you want to know a trick, you know how the stairs inside the police station lead up to the roof of the building from here, literally right here? Well, if you go into vehicles, head to bicycles, take the BMX, set it to respawn, and have the bike seat facing this way, putting it like that, exactly, backing out, and then hitting place. If you actually go upstairs and hit triangle to get on the bike, it'll push you through the door and allow you to actually get out here. Or you could use a take flight sign, it's up to you. That's if you want to add air unit to your map. Totally up to you. But for the sake of this video, we're not gonna do that. We got police vehicles down. How do we respawn them? What happens if, I don't know, we just need to respawn a vehicle? Well, we're gonna go to grenades, well, throwables, and find the petrol can. Just for, as an example, I'm gonna put it down here. We're gonna spawn in. We're gonna teleport right over here. What's gonna happen is if you actually dump gasoline down like this by a vehicle that you have set to be able to respawn, and then you, for example, go grab yourself a gun, head back over here, and you actually shoot the gas, what's gonna happen is it's not gonna blow up. You can stand as close to it as you want. Well, not too close, the fire doesn't hit you. But instead of exploding, it'll disappear, and then some miraculous thing will happen. Like this. It will reappear. it'll respawn. And this goes with dealership vehicles as well. It's really cool. So also, you don't have to use guns or gasoline. If you want to make it even more quieter, take a pistol or a melee weapon and spam this, and it actually works quicker than you think. And I'm gonna not even edit this part out just to show you guys exactly. That's it. Give it a second, and there it is. That's it. You didn't even have to shoot a gunshot off and it respawned. So pretty cool. Now let's get civilians a couple cars. What you could do is not put down any civ cars, and you could just tell them they have to use street vehicles, or you could give them a couple vehicles. Now, I know a lot of people are going to end up giving players some pretty unrealistic vehicles to start off with, but what I would recommend, pick something realistic that you would see actually driving around in real life, something that makes sense, like the Chavos V6, for example. You can add a couple of these. Maybe you want to have that one good car, so you head over to your muscle car section, you drop one of these in here, and maybe you want to have a couple sports cars of some sort. You actually head to the supercar section. I believe there is a, here it is, the Salden RS, which looks really nice. We'll do one of these here, and then we'll do one that's actually a different color. We'll do silver, and we'll even give this one a livery like that, make it feel personalized. And in the SUV section, we could go with the Castigator. It looks kind of cool. Make sure you set the color back to random. You can even give it a livery. This is down like that. Remember, keep this in mind, you don't need to have enough vehicles for every player, because not every player should be driving around in the same car. It would look really weird if that was the case. That's why there's only one of these, because it's super fast, meaning there should only be one of it. It just adds variety to the other cars that will spawn in traffic. Oh, and you guys probably weren't aware of this, but do you have an issue with players in your map, in your roleplay server, constantly driving their cars into the police station? Well, you can actually fix that entirely by going over to Arena Props Apocalypse section and get tire spikes, turn prop stacking on, make sure they're facing forward, and you can place them all around here. And if you don't want them visible, you can actually just edit them and have them go just like that, where the spikes are sticking out. So civilians will learn their lesson of driving cars up into PD and being weird. There's a lot more you can do with this. You can make custom McDonald's, you can make iPhone stores, you can make Walmart if you really wanted, if you put the time into it. What I'm going to show you though, that something that's a little more important is actually how to get into other interiors. So I think for this sake, this is just going to be for me, but what I'm going to do for my map is remove the Buffalo STX, giving me access to the BMX. And now the reason for this, we're going to go to Franklin's old house right here. And we're going to take this bike and we're going to have it go. Now I've actually never tested this out before, so I want to see if I can put two bikes in the same door. So we put one down there. Doesn't look like we can put two in there. What if I pick this one up? It doesn't look like it. But if you're wondering, what am I doing this for? Well, you're not going to see it when you're testing, but when you actually get into the game, you can actually get on the bike to get inside of the house. So what I would do is actually pick it up and push it a little further in the doorway there. Because in actual RP in your server, that door is going to close, but that can be used to get in and out of it. If you want, you can make it so that players can go back to their houses to eat food to restore health. So you can add a little health package with a 10-second respawn time, and you can go do the placement thing that I taught you guys how to do over in the kitchen. And there's a lot you can do with this. If you're wondering, wait, so does this mean any interior in the game that was in GTA 5? Janitor's apartment from FIB Raid, or whatever that heist was you did in story mode, you can actually go into his apartment, which I think is located somewhere right here. If you go to this second door that I'm highlighted over, you take this BMX, make sure that the bike seat's flipped, I can't even see it, inwards. You place it just around there, back up. We're not in a clear area for it, so let's try to back up again. Wait, I think I'm at the right house, right? Should have blue trash cans outside. Yep. Maybe we gotta go more forward. There we go. If you actually go and test this out, and you teleport over there, I believe it's somewhere over here. So if you actually come back here and you head up to these stairs, you guys aren't gonna even know this ever existed, for the most part, I assume. But there's a fully fledged apartment in here, and it's easier to get in on the bike, but and you can look through the window. I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Let's be honest. This is awesome. So far, this video has helped you guys out. Feel free to drop a like. If you think you've actually gained something from this, feel free to subscribe and join my server. Link in the description. That's gonna be it for the video, because the rest of it's really up to you guys and just being creative. Let me know in the comments what you guys made. Give me ideas. Let me know if there's anything you want to see me make. And that's it. See y'all later. Thanks for watching. Peace out.